there are a few things that are less useful, overrated,
definitely
completely nonsense. How far are we going to go with this?
I still look at a lot of these.
Yep.
But I think they're just worry about the big ones.
Yeah. So when you see these, the accuracy is very questionable, and don't overthink them. Is that a good way of saying it?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are VO2 max. We mentioned that already. What else?
The other one would be calories burned.
Oh,
I mean, even from a behavioral lens, I see, and I'm guilty of this, I see this reinforce negative, not even just negative behavior, but almost just inaccurate behavior.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense. So what I mean is somebody takes up running, they had a 6 mile run and they see that they burned 690 calories or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, shoot.
Yep.
I'm going to eat that 690 calories right after because I got to replenish those calories.
Right.
It's just not that clean.
Got it.
I mean, we have videos on energy expenditure, and I talk like a goofball about how complicated a lot of this is. And it's a huge misunderstanding widely. Like, you don't just 1-to-1 burn the amount of calories that your wearable says you burn every time you walk or exercise. And if you do, guess what? There are 23 and a half other hours in the day that you're not walking or running,
right?
That the systems in your body are upregulating certain things, downregulating certain things with respect to metabolism,
right?
The amount of muscle mass that you have. What have you been consistently eating? Have you been losing a ton of weight before this already?
Yep. Yeah.
So there's a million things that will, even if you burn 690 calories, you're probably going to burn less later in the day.
Right.
Like there's all I'm trying to say is there's a, without getting too deep into it, there's a recalibration that occurs that, it's great. Celebrate the 690 calories that you burned, but there's something on the back end that's
don't use
working
it as
against
license.
you. Don't use it as license to make up for it directly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's questionable accuracy and in the grand scheme, really questionable usefulness.
Yeah. I legitimately never look at that.
Yeah.
Like I
actually didn't realize mine had it until we were prepping for this, and I was flipping through and I was like, oh, wow. And it was like, you've burned 1,600 calories today. And it was 10 in the morning. And I'm like, there's no chance. I mean, I went to the gym, but there's no chance I burned 1,600 calories by 10 in the morning. That's not a thing that happened.
Yeah. Honestly, it would be fun to revisit that a little bit.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it would be something that I'm not sure that people will have a million take-home points,
right,
to take action on with something like that. But I just think that's one of those educational aspects that can really drive home a big picture issue with people.
Yeah.
That it can take away that mentality of, I'm going to work out so that I can eat this.
Right.
I'm going to burn this many calories on the elliptical so I can eat this.
Right.
It's just not that clean.
Right.
I think that in general, the more muscle mass that you build, the more that you are active, I think it can afford you some dietary flexibility to an extent. I really do.
Yeah.
I do think it can, but not to the extent that it's going to be enough to lose weight. That's why none of these wearable devices, none of these studies show that they did anything, whether it's reinforcement of the wearable device with individualized like texting and reinforcement. It generally does nothing to sustain weight loss for somebody. Why? Because these are tracking your activity for the most part. And we know that to lose weight, let's say, it's a way more intervention points than increasing the lever of physical activity. That's not the main lever to pull for that. So we can try to educate a little bit on some of the energy expenditure implications that, really drive that home.
We can hit that another time for sure.